There's a quiet revolution that happens in a person's life the moment they realize respect isn't something they're given. It's something they claim. Carl Jung's words. Until you respect yourself, nobody else will. Aren't just a passing thought. They're a mirror held up to the way we navigate the world. Think about the last time you felt overlooked, dismissed, or taken for granted. Now ask yourself, did I in some way allow that? It's an uncomfortable question, but it's the one that matters. Because the truth is, respect doesn't begin with others. It begins in the silence of your own mind, in the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening, in the choices you make when no one's watching. Let's break this down. What does self-respect actually look like in practice? It's not about arrogance or walking around with an unshakable ego. It's far subtler than that. It's the ability to say no without guilt. It's the refusal to laugh at a joke at your expense just to keep the peace. It's the way you hold eye contact when you speak, not because you're demanding attention, but because you know your words have value. These are the silent languages of self-respect, and they speak louder than any grand gesture ever could. The world responds to these cues instinctively. People can sense when you've drawn an invisible line around your dignity, and whether they admit it or not, they adjust their behavior accordingly. But here's where it gets difficult. Self-respect isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's easy to stand tall when things are going well. The real test comes when you're tired, when you're lonely, when you're desperate for connection or validation. That's when the old habits creep back in. The people-pleasing, the self-doubt, the shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Jung's insight cuts through all of that. He's not saying the world will magically respect you the moment you start respecting yourself. He's saying the opposite. The world won't respect you until you do. Because when you don't hold yourself in high regard, you're essentially giving others permission to do the same. This isn't about blame. It's about power. The kind of power that doesn't come from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. Every time you ignore that nagging feeling that you're being treated poorly, every time you stay in a situation that dulls your light, you're reinforcing the idea that you don't deserve better. But the moment you decide otherwise, the moment you walk away from what no longer serves you, or speak up when you'd normally stay quiet, something shifts. It's not that people suddenly change, it's that you change. And when you change, the world around you has no choice but to change in response. So where does this leave us? With a simple but profound truth. Respect is an inside job. You can't control how others treat you, but you can control what you tolerate. You can't force someone to see your worth, but you can stop acting as if you're unaware of it. This is what Jung understood, that the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. And until that relationship is rooted in honesty, in kindness, in unwavering self-regard, you'll always be searching for something outside yourself that can only be found within. The journey to self-respect isn't paved with grand declarations or overnight transformations. It's built in the quiet moments where you choose yourself over convenience, your dignity over approval. Carl Jung's assertion that respect begins within isn't just philosophy, it's observable psychology. Think of your mind as a castle. Every time you let someone cross a boundary, it's like leaving the gate unguarded. Eventually, invaders take notice. They don't storm in all at once. They slip through in small ways. The backhanded compliment you shrug off. The extra favor you do despite being exhausted. The laughter you force when your instincts tell you to walk away. These are the cracks in your foundation. And the world, whether consciously or not, tests those cracks to see how much pressure they'll hold. But here's what's fascinating. The brain reinforces what you repeat. Neuroscience shows that neural pathways strengthen with habit, meaning every time you tolerate disrespect, you're not just allowing it, you're training yourself to expect it. This is why breaking the cycle feels so difficult. It's not just about standing up to others. It's about rewiring your own expectations. Imagine a woman who spent years in a relationship where her partner dismisses her opinions. The first time she firmly says, "I won't be spoken to that way," her heart might race. Not because she's wrong, but because her brain has been conditioned to associate assertiveness with conflict or loss. Yet with each repetition, the discomfort lessens. The mind learns, this is safety, this is normal. That's the science of self-respect. It's literally a recalibration of your nervous system. Now let's talk about the social mirror. Humans are tribal creatures. We instinctively reflect the energy we're given. When you project self-doubt through hesitant speech, apologetic body language, or constant accommodation, others unconsciously mirror back uncertainty. Conversely, when you operate from quiet assurance, not arrogance, but an unshaken sense of "I belong here," people respond to that frequency. A study in the Journal of Social Psychology found that individuals who displayed confident body language, uncrossed arms, steady eye contact, measured speech, were consistently rated as more competent and trustworthy by strangers, regardless of their actual qualifications. The lesson? You teach people how to perceive you long before they ever know you. Yet there's a crucial distinction between self-respect and performative confidence. The latter is a mask, posturing to convince others and yourself of worthiness. True self-respect is internal. It's the entrepreneur who turns down a lucrative deal because it conflicts with their ethics. It's the teenager who walks away from friends gossiping about someone vulnerable. These aren't loud moments. They're private victories where integrity overrides external rewards. Jung recognized this when he wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That becoming requires shedding the versions of yourself that traded self-worth for belonging. So how do you start when the weight of old patterns feels immovable? Begin with micro-rebellions. If you habitually say, "Sorry," when you've done nothing wrong, pause mid-sentence next time. If you reflexively downplay achievements, "Oh, it was nothing," try simply saying, "Thank you, I worked hard for that." These tiny acts are like lifting weights for your self-respect muscle. Over time, they compound. You'll notice shifts, not because the world magically became kinder, but because you stopped accepting the narrative that you were less. And that's when Jung's wisdom proves itself. When you stop begging for a seat at the table, you realize you were always meant to be at the head of it. There comes a pivotal moment in every person's journey when they realize that self-respect isn't just about how you allow others to treat you. It's about how you treat yourself when nobody is watching. This is where Carl Jung's wisdom cuts deepest. That internal dialogue running through your mind, that's the foundation of everything. When you constantly criticize yourself, second-guess your decisions, or minimize your needs, you're engaging in a subtle but powerful form of self-disrespect. and the world will always take its cues from how you treat yourself. Consider the paradox many high achievers face. They demand excellence from themselves, yet struggle to acknowledge their own worth. They'll push through exhaustion to meet deadlines, tolerate toxic work environments for validation, or stay in unfulfilling relationships out of fear. This isn't discipline. It's self-betrayal disguised as ambition. The breakthrough happens when you understand that true achievement and self-respect aren't opposing forces. In fact, your highest potential can only be reached when you stop sacrificing your well-being at the altar of external approval. The resistance to self-respect often comes from surprising places. Well-meaning family members might call your boundaries selfish. Colleagues may mistake your confidence for arrogance. Even your own mind might rebel, whispering that you're getting too big for your boots. These reactions reveal an uncomfortable truth. When you start respecting yourself, it holds up a mirror to those who haven't done the same work. Their discomfort isn't about you. It's about their own unexamined compromises. This is where most people falter, mistaking others' discomfort for proof they're doing something wrong, rather than evidence they're doing something right. Financial self-respect presents another revealing test. Notice how you handle money. Do you consistently undercharge for your services? Feel guilty spending on self-care? Avoid negotiating salaries? These patterns often mirror deeper beliefs about worthiness. Money flows where respect resides, not because wealth equals value, but because your financial choices reflect your self-valuation. The entrepreneur who prices their work confidently, the employee who asks for raises without apology, they understand that financial dignity is an extension of personal dignity. Healing the respect deficit requires confronting what Jung called our shadow, the disowned parts of ourselves. Maybe it's the people-pleaser who secretly resents always being taken advantage of, or the perfectionist who punishes themselves for ordinary mistakes. These patterns don't break through willpower alone. They require compassionate investigation. Where did I learn that love must be earned through self-abandonment? Who modeled that respect was conditional on performance? The answers often reveal childhood adaptations that once served you but now limit you. The most transformative realization? Self-respect isn't something you achieve. It's something you practice in each decision. It's choosing rest over hustle culture when you're tired. It's deleting that dating app when you notice you're settling for breadcrumbs. It's walking away from debates with people committed to misunderstanding you. These daily choices accumulate into a life where external validation becomes optional rather than oxygen. And that's when Jung's promise manifests, not because the world magically changes, but because you've become someone who no longer tolerates anything less than fundamental respect.